The House has resumed. Before we adjourned for the dinner break, we were discussing the Electoral Adjustment of Thresholds Amendment Bill. David Clendon has 1 minute remaining to speak. It appears that he doesn't wish to take that time. I therefore call David Seymour.
Mr. Speaker, I've been waiting for this bill for some time. Unwrapping the order paper has been much like a game of pass the parcel, hoping each time that Mr. Lees-Galloway's bill would finally be up for debate. And tonight it is. And the reason that I've relished debating this bill is that often in politics and public policy, there's actually legitimate cause for debate and valid points on both sides. But in this case, the opposition is so wrong on every count that it's a delightful case to prosecute. And we'll address that. Let me start with a little bit of history. We have an electoral system that has two tests for whether or not a member or members can enter Parliament. One is that they must win an electorate, win the majority of voters within a geographical area. The other is that their party must win 5% of all votes. The objective of this policy is something that this bill seeks to change, and that is to balance proportionality with stability of government. And they decided back in Germany, post-World War II, when this particular system of electing representatives was designed, to have two tests. One was to win some geographical areas, and the other was to win 5% of all votes. Why? Because they were concerned, as it happened, that ethnic Danes who were concentrated in certain geographical areas, but who had brethren represented around the rest of the country, might be fully represented by passing not just one test, but actually both. And so what that achieved, Mr. Speaker, was that you could enhance the proportionality of Parliament while also having a clear test for stability, that nobody would be elected unless they could persuade the majority of a particular geographical area to vote for them. And fast forward to 1986, in our own Electoral Royal Commission on the electoral legislation, actually contemplated that Māori or Pacific Island peoples who might be concentrated in a particular geographical area, Carmel Sepuloni's really thinking right now, would be able to elect members and also enhance the proportionality of Parliament by representation being proportional to their brethren, if you like, in the remainder of the country. And interestingly, as it comes to pass in this House today, the sole beneficiary of the coattailing rule that this Act seeks to remove is actually one Marama Fox. And I don't know what the Labor Party could possibly have about Marama Fox against Marama Fox, because she is a fabulous member of this House. But let's be clear that the net effect, the only net effect of changing this Act on the current House would be to remove Marama Fox from this House. Why does the Labor Party hate Marama Fox is the question I'd like answered tonight. It's certainly not clear. We heard earlier in this debate, Mr. Speaker, a superb contribution from one Judith Collins, and she recited the history that in 1996 it was indeed the Labor and Green Party who strategically elected Jeanette Fitzsimmons to Coromandel in order to take advantage of the coattailing rule. My earnest friend here, the Right Honourable Winston Peters, had his political skin saved in 1999 by the people of Tauranga, and New Zealand First by the coattailing rule. But let's be honest about the real motivation that this bill has on the part of its proponents. And that is that if you take the entire history of MMP, for a period the coattailing rule benefited the left, and then it benefited the right. There is no more to it than that, Mr. Speaker. There is no more sincere motivation on the part of the proponents of this bill than the fact that it has politically disadvantaged them recently. And Right Honourable Winston Peters knows that he's been kept away from the crossbenches at least twice in the last 3 elections by this bill. And for that reason, he's very angry about it too. And I understand, time is running out. Nonetheless, I'll be opposing this bill because there is no sound principle, only self-interest on the part of the proponents.